This judge should change his ruling because Palm Beach County said he was totally wrong, and he was ruling based on them. He ruled we didn't even have a chance to testify. I got a call last week, sir, we lost part of the case. I said, the trial didn't even start. You know, the trial starts, I guess, today. He ruled that we lost a big part of the case because he's a Democrat club politician. He's a Democrat operative, and he's a disgrace to people that call themselves judges. And I hope my lawyers go in, and I hope they fight him very hard, because this guy's getting away with murder. And his clerk should not be allowed to be in his ear on every single question. You take a look at what's happening with her. She hates Trump more than he does.
A lot to unpack there. MSNBC anchor Lindsey Reiser live outside the courthouse in New York for us. So Lindsey, the former president, obviously taking a very defiant tone there. Earlier today, he called his trial a sham. He says this is not fraud. He calls it real estate. He also talked about how nothing happens to murderers in New York as the prosecutors go after him. And just now we heard him saying he wants the judge to be disbarred and charged criminally for election interference. Lindsey, put those 5 minutes of comments into context for us with regard to this civil trial and what a judge really has to determine here. It's very narrow in scope.
Right. And so the former president renewing his attacks against Letitia James and this judge here, pretty remarkable there. He's called the judge rogue. He's called Letitia James deranged and racist. And also he talked about Mar-a-Lago. And look, the valuation and the overvaluation of his assets is what is really at stake here, what is being argued against. So let's take Mar-a-Lago, for example. Mar-a-Lago was appraised, according to the Attorney General's office, from 2011 to 2021. At $18 million to $27.6 million. Well, his financial statements had listed it for $427 million to $612 million, but in that press conference, he said $500 million to $1.5 billion. So the president remaining defiant and saying that he didn't account for his brand in the valuation. His defense attorneys in their opening statement saying that the government is trying to tell this court that there's just one way to value a property, and there are many ways to value a property. But he also lifted up an article from the New York Sun, which is a publication whose editorial board leans conservative, essentially calling out an error, they say, in this case, flagged by industry insiders. And he began reading that article here. This is an opportunity here for both sides to present their facts inside this courtroom here. And the president can plead the Fifth if he wants to, and so can any other witnesses who are on this list. Still unclear if he's going to testify. But really, I think what this press conference here, he did one on the front end. He's doing one here after the courtroom broke for lunch. I mean, it's very tense. And inside the courtroom, we have producers inside and reporters inside as well who echo just how tense the atmosphere was. That the president, on his way out when court broke for lunch, glared down at the attorney general. And so the president here obviously trying to engage in the court of public opinion. We should know the judge has already found the former president liable for fraud. This is largely the damages portion here. There are about 6 other counts that the judge is also going to consider. And of course, his adult sons and former CFO Alan Weisselberg are also named in the lawsuit. But his entire business empire is at stake here. And that is perhaps why he's here today, why he's addressing the camera numerous times today.
Lindsey, can I ask for one fact check? Because you heard the former president saying something like 80% of my case has already been decided. What is he talking about there?
You know, it's not clear to me right now. Up until this point, really, the Attorney General's office has been the one who's been heralding victory here because that judge did make that ruling last week, that partial summary judgment here. So it's unclear what he's alluding to about the 80%. He's already... Again, correct, in favor of the Attorney General's arguments here. And so, by and large, this is the damages portion. But we should also expect, Kate, an appeal. And that is definitely one thing that while they are, of course, trying to talk to this judge as well, it's just a bench trial. There's not a jury, so they're just trying to talk to this judge. But we can also expect an appeal out of this process as well, Kate.
Lindsey, quickly before you go, they're at lunch right now. Do we expect the president to return or anyone else to be taking the stand today? Any witnesses we're going to hear from today?
We're working on trying to confirm reporting on the exact whereabouts of the former president, but it appears that things are moving quicker than expected in these opening arguments, and we could see the first witness expected to be one of the former president's accountants called potentially as soon as today.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.